Look at that. That's blizzard conditions, and we complain when we get a little rain, you know. A little rain, we want to stay home. Folks are still pushing through to go to work. Well, at least who can, but there are those who really can't. In lots of cases, the train lines, they've been shut, and it's really at your own risk. There was an advisory bulletin last evening for folks to stay indoors. I think it's going up until 7 a.m. this morning. And as I said, this is impacting New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., that whole east coast of the U.S. Blizzard conditions as we speak. So there is much to be grateful for. Yes, we go through our heat wave and we get our intense rain and the Sahara dust, but we could function. When you live in that kind of condition and you have to treat with that and you have to shovel snow off your car and out to your driveway, and just not only the snow, but the place is gloomy, it's dark, it's cold. To our brothers and sisters, our family who reside out there, give them a call today and cheer them up. It's not easy. That's, to me, probably one of the hardest parts of living overseas, dealing with the weather and having to treat with conditions like that, because we didn't grow up in that. None of us, we have experience. No one would have had that kind of experience coming from the Caribbean. So it's a real culture shock. And interestingly, there are those who actually love the cold. There are people who just love it. They embrace it. They love that change of atmosphere and that change of weather. But for me, I cool right here for the hour. Trust and believe. That's very, very difficult conditions to deal with, especially when it's a blizzard. Let's move across now to the brief. And it's much better weather there on the brief, as said there by my colleague Sheldon. Much better weather. You see, that is what we know. You go to the beach, you take a splash, right? You're bareback. You think anybody out there could do that now? No way. No way. So that's a beautiful picture there. Candel Prime enjoys a fun-filled day with his daughters. That's Clarissa, who celebrated her 8th birthday, and I'm seeing also Kalia. She's actually in the water. So that's a beautiful moment there. The girls there with their daddy. Well done, Dad. Feel good moment, you know. As a dad, I did it with my son, you know. You take them up, you toss them in the water, splash out, you know, you have a nice little time. You can't do that now, you know, when they get big and stuff. There's a certain age you say, nah, but I can't make too much pressure on the back. You try and pick them up, and they're not going to go through that anyway. So that's a beautiful moment there. And I'm seeing here, fans send well wishes as Kenneth Salick battles kidney failure. I didn't even realize, and that's a story from Angelo. I will have to call Angelo. Well, I mean, it's a heart-wrenching story, and he's one that would have contributed in a major way to the music. So, especially those in the chutney soca arena. So this is quite a sad development. I hope that those in the fraternity and outside of the fraternity are able to rally up and render some kind of assistance to Kenneth Salick. Let's get ready for the boss report on this Monday morning. Saru joins me. We had a little pause for the carnival, but we are back to the big business, the movers and shakers. Saru steps in next for the boss report. See you soon.
Low energy? Heart concerns? Migraines slowing you down? It's time to take control of your health. Join Wellness Unlocked, the series that brings expert advice and real solutions for a healthier you. In our latest episode, learn how Jameson CoQ10 can help support heart health, boost energy, and even reduce migraines. Get the science, the stories, and the steps to power up your health with CoQ10. Don't miss Wellness Unlocked. Watch now on CNC3 and start your wellness journey today.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Trinry. Premier insurance coverage for less.
Magical Expressions Limited is the largest local importer and distributor of fresh cut stems, offering the widest range of beautiful flowers at the most affordable prices. Call us today at 701-6488, 701-6680, 728-6786, or visit our website to order.
Enroll your child today at CTS College's private primary school. Classes are online and taught by qualified and experienced teachers. Our fun and engaging sessions are recorded for further review. We cover the full range of SEA subjects with preparation for success. Students from first year to Standard 5 are welcome to join. And with our competitive rates and flexible payment plans, it's easy to enroll. Sign up today at CTS College.
Visit Tire Clinic Marketing, New Truck and OTR Tire Service Center at number 30 and 32 Montrose Main Road, Chabonas. Call today at 665-8973 or 672-3419. Alignment services available. Tire Clinic Marketing, Truck and OTR Service Center. A tire for every need.
Some of us like to test limits, but there won't always be second chances. Obey the speed limits. Maybe you don't value your life, but others value theirs. A message from the TTPS.
Sportsmanship is when an athlete walks off the court and you can't tell if he won or lost because he carries himself with pride either way. This quote is an embodiment of sport, and for me, sport is an embodiment of life. We are where you are.
Make sure you have yourself a great invest week by viewing The Bourse Report every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. during CNC3's The Morning Brew. You'll get sound financial advice, whether you're a new or experienced investor, when you view The Bourse Report. CNC3, covering your world. Get the story first. Want to know what's happening in news, sports, or crime? Get the CNC3 app. As the story breaks, CNC3 is there giving you the story first on your mobile device. Be connected to the most trusted and reliable news source, CNC3. Access your world with just a tap. The CNC3 app. Download it today.
Calling all filmmakers, producers, content creators, influencers, and recording artists. If you're looking to rent a versatile studio space with green screen, video wall, cyclorama, and more, look no further. GM Labs is here to make your dreams a reality. Located in the heart of Port of Spain on St. Vincent Street, GM Labs is your one-stop shop for all your creative needs with over 2,800 square feet to work with. Take your creative concept to the final product at GM Labs. Give us a call or WhatsApp or message us on our Instagram and Facebook pages at GM Labs TT.
Our connection is reliable, credible, and authentic. Thank you for trusting me to bring you the news. It's a privilege to be in your homes and hearts. With every story and every newscast, CNC3 is keeping you informed and inspired. When it comes to news, we are where you are.
This season, Ask the Doctor is at a new time. It's your weekly prescription for trusted medical advice. In the Doctor's Capsule, Dr. Tilak Singh breaks down big health topics clearly and simply. Get a dose of smiles in the Kiddies Capsule as our youngest experts share health tips with heart. Explore the science behind the headlines in Medical Minds, featuring real doctors, real insight, and your questions matter. Join the open forum live and get answers straight from the source. Ask the Doctor, every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on CNC3.
This is more than just music. This is where you find the best of TNT. This is more than just a vibe. This is where Bollywood gets a twist. This is more than just energy. This is Bhangra and indie pop too. This is the mix. This This is the life. Lock on or log on now. Sangeet 106.1 FM. This is authentic East Indian radio. This is us.
Well, it's time for our boss report, and Sarud is going to check in. Let me extend a warm welcome and good morning to you, Sarud.
Good morning, GW, and good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome to the Boss Report. Well, today we're taking a look at first quarter fiscal results of two of our homegrown and home-owned banks on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. Of course, we're speaking about Republic Financial Holdings Limited as well as First Citizens Group Financial Holdings. Well, let's call it First for this session. Now, both groups would have reported fairly significant improved earnings over for their first quarter earnings results. Let's take a look at how both groups would have fared and what investors might expect in the coming quarters ahead. Turning firstly to RFHL or Republic. For that first quarter ended December 2025, the group would have reported an earnings per share figure of $3.67 per share, which was a 9.6% improvement from the $3.35 recorded in that prior comparable period of 2020, or fiscal 2024. Net interest income was up 8.3% from $1.34 billion to just under $1.45 billion. Overall operating profits up 12.8% from $888 million to just over that $1 billion mark in the first quarter. Profit attributable to equity holders increasing that 9% from around $547 million to just under $600 million. So certainly a very strong performance in that first quarter by RFHL. When we take a look at income trends, we can see it has continued on its upward trend over the 5 past comparable periods. Again, net interest income in this orangish color up just about that 8.3% to $1.449 billion with a commensurate roughly 8.1% increase in other income, increasing in that greenish segment from 530 to just about 573 million. Again, consistent and positive trend in terms of income for RFHL over the past few comparable periods. When we take a look at profit before tax contribution from a geographic segment, again, one of the RFHL's emerging strengths and improving strengths has been its regional diversification. We can see that there were some notable changes, but overall fairly positive at an aggregate level. We can see Trinidad and Tobago, for example, in that yellow segment, increasing just about 1% in terms of PBT contribution from 945 to 955 million. Barbados, fairly significant decline from 112 to 43 million in that blue segment, roughly 60% decline. Suriname also down just about 23% from 52 million to 40 million in profit before tax contribution. However, this was more than offset by significant improvements in the Eastern Caribbean, up around 30% from 87 to 114 million TT in profit before tax. Guyana up also a fairly significant 35% from 109 to 140 million. Ghana swinging positively as well, up just about 65%, in fact, in that red segment from 40 to 66 million. And Cayman Islands also chipping in with significant growth, up around 16% from 106 to 123 million in profit before tax contribution for the group. So again, overall, some variations in terms of performance regionally, but overall an aggregate positive improvement in terms of that quarter-on-quarter performance. Now, when we take a look at from a valuation perspective, we can see that Republic is trading at that price earnings level of around 7.5 times, which is on the cheaper end of the spectrum for banking sector stocks. In fact, the sector average is around 9.3 times, and RFHL is offering a fairly generous dividend yield on a trailing basis of around 5.8%. Compared to that sector average of 5.4%. So certainly one of the higher dividend yielding stocks on the banking sector, which has in fact repriced to the upside over the past few years, with dividend yields increasing in general, as we can see in this particular illustration. So again, at that price of 103.25, Republic is trading at their price earnings ratio of 7.5 times, below the sector average of 9.3 times, with a dividend yield of 5.8%, above that sector average of 5.4%. So with higher revenues in mind, that continuing and strengthening geographical diversification in mind, also relatively attractive dividend yields and general valuation multiples. But Of course, with market uncertainties prevailing, particularly that asset-based levy related to Trinidad and Tobago banking assets, BOSS is maintaining its overall overweight rating on RFHL for the time being with a watch outlook. Turning very quickly to FCGFH or First. Well, for that comparable first quarter period of ended 2025, the group would have reported an earnings per share figure of $1.05, which is a 10.5% increase from the 95 cents recorded in that prior comparable period. Driving this performance was a fairly modest increase in net interest income, up 3.3% from 522 to 540 odd million. However, total net revenues increased a fairly significant 16% from 695 to 807 million. Overall profits for the period increasing that 9.7% from 240 million to just about 263.3 million. So again, very strong showing by one of our domestic or homegrown banks rather. First, we can see that from a profit before tax contribution perspective, there were some notable changes as well. Retail and corporate banking declined just about 15% from 264 to just about 226 million in that Redis segment. This was more than offset by an improvement of almost 50% in treasury and investment banking profit before tax contribution, moving from 139 to just about 207 odd million in profit or PBT contribution, and a fairly flat performance or stable performance in that trustee and asset management segment, around 14.2 million. When we take a look at the balance sheet trends or total asset trends for First, we can see that there were some notable changes over those comparable quarters, most notably loans to customers growing just over 9% from 21.8 billion in that greenish segment to 23.8 billion, with some fairly stable trends in the other segments, including investments, cash holdings, as well as other assets. Again, at a price of $40 for First, the stock is trading at a price earnings ratio of just about 9.9 times, which is broadly in line with the sector average of 9.3 times, and offers even more generous dividend yield of around 6.3% compared to the sector average of 5.4%. So with that strong revenue growth in mind and improving earnings, a very attractive dividend yield in fact, but again, overlaid by those particular market uncertainties which could affect the banking and insurance sectors. Notwithstanding those uncertainties, BOSS is maintaining an overweight rating on First for the time being with a watch outlook. Well, that's it for this week's edition. For more information, you can give us a call at 2BOSS or 226-8773. Email us at info@bossfinancial.com. And of course, you can check out our website where all of our research is absolutely free at bossinvestment.com. And you can catch this article in today's business section of the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian newspaper. So until next time, stay safe, happy investing, and we'll see you again on the BOSS Report.
Period nights don't have to look like this. Move less, wake up to change. So change for a real night's sleep with Always Overnight. Its 3 times protection system absorbs, locks the fluid, and keeps it away from your skin. For protected nights without leaks. Always.
Men, it's time to level up your wardrobe. Find all your top designer brands in one stylish stop. Premium fits, fresh arrivals, and looks that make a statement. From Calvin Klein polos to Psycho Bunny tees, sharp dress shirts, high-quality jeans, shorts, watches, shades, and even luxury cologne. Everything you need to look your best is right here. Plus, enjoy nationwide delivery wherever you are. We're conveniently located at Twin Walls, Gulfview. Call us at 780-5000. Your brand, your style, your store. Silver Tag Menswear.
Trinidad, the season of wins is here at Passat's The Food King and Bright Ideas. One season, many chances, big wins. From premium Leroy chocolates to Moet champagne and fine wines to booming sound systems, fully loaded coolers, and even 50-inch smart TVs. Here's how you can enter to win. For every $300 spent at Passat's The Food King or Bright Ideas, you receive 1 entry form. Fill it out and drop it in the entry box. Weekly Carnival Cooler Line draws every Saturday and one massive grand finale. The season of wins ends on February 26th and the Grand Carnival draw on Saturday, February 28th. Shop, enter, and win in the season of wins.
Push on! Quality value, that's our way. A real Passat, we're here to stay. Food King. Besides.
Are you tired of the same old boring drive home from work? Look no further. Get ready for the ultimate after-work rush with Freedom 106.5 FM's The Overdrive with Davey. Mondays to Fridays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Let Davey take you on a thrilling ride of non-stop entertainment and education. He covers the topics of the day, delves into the latest food and lifestyle trends, and brings dynamic guests from exciting professions to share their professional stories and experiences. Take advantage of this energizing and engaging experience. Tune into Freedom 106.5 FM, Mondays to Fridays, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. for The Overdrive with Davey, the ultimate way to end your day with a bang.
Make sure you have yourself a great investment week by viewing The Boss Report every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. during CNC3's The Morning Brew. You'll get sound financial advice, whether you're a new or experienced investor, when you view The Boss Report. CNC3, covering your world.
Some of us like to test limits, but there won't always be second chances. Obey the speed limits. Maybe you don't value your life, but others value theirs. A message from the TTPS.
Get the story first. Want to know what's happening in news, sports, or crime? Get the CNC3 app. As the story breaks, CNC3 is there giving you the story first on your mobile device. Be connected to the most trusted and reliable news source, CNC3. Access your world with just a tap. The CNC3 app. Download it today.
Sportsmanship is when an athlete walks off the court and you can't tell if he won or lost because he carries himself with pride either way. This quote is an embodiment of sport, and for me, sport is an embodiment of life. We are where you are.
Dr. Randy C. Prasad joins me on the Zoom line, criminologist, to treat with a very important talking point. Crime post state of emergency and what we are seeing via the data, what's the empirical saying, and what's the general mood coming out of a very long state of emergency. It was rather probably one of the longest state of emergency we've been under, but of course that's behind us now. We're trying to forge ahead, and obviously some of the major talking points there too with the body cameras, we'll get to that. But I want to start things off with post-state of emergency. What's been your natural observation? Good morning to you, Dr. C. Prasad. Welcome.
Hi, good morning, and thank you for having me on the show. So, what we've seen with past states of emergency when used as a measure of crime control is that there is a definite decline, not just in murders, but other violent crimes as well during states of emergency. But at the same time, what we see not just in Trinidad and Tobago, but other Caribbean nations that have used the state of emergency is that once the state of emergency is lifted, things pretty much go back to normal. So that's definitely the bad news for us. The good news is that it doesn't necessarily have to go back to normal, because a lot of the strategies that are utilized very effectively during a state of emergency can actually be utilized, outside of a state of emergency.
Like?
Sorry?
Like?
Right. So states of emergency tend to be associated with, at least in the Caribbean region, much more intense and focused policing. So you're talking about heightened stop and search powers. You're talking about concentrating operations within crime hotspot areas, intelligence-led policing. You're talking about greater disruption of gang networks and gang leadership. You're talking about increased usage and sharing of intelligence and a number of other things that tend to be, better coordinated and that tend to happen with greater frequency during states of emergency. And, we don't really need a state of emergency to engage in these kinds of practices. And if we do, one of the things that will happen is that you will sustain that decline in crime. Now, I must caution, notwithstanding that one of the other reasons, for a decline in crime during the state of emergency has to do with the ability to incapacitate, and by that I mean incarcerate, potential high-risk persons like gang leaders, which would not happen outside a state of emergency. And, with persons like that back out there, especially those who direct criminal offenses or who, commit a high frequency of criminal offenses, with them back out there in the public, you find that they can drive up the crime rates.
Indeed, because I've recognized that when you mentioned that obviously they could keep the momentum with, search and the targeted policing. I know obviously there are certain constitutional barriers that must be adhered to. Well, I'm going to say barriers, constitutional prerequisites that must be adhered to once you're under the normal operation, and obviously once you're in a state of emergency, the authorities are given a little extra powers in that regard when they can go without warrant and stuff. So I wonder where's that sweet spot without that they can continue their actions without running afoul of someone's constitutional right. Is there a sweet spot we could find?
I would say that the answer to that is definitely yes. It already suggests to us that we know who the key criminal actors are. The problem that we face is when it comes to successfully prosecuting and convicting such persons. So we do have the evidence that detaining such persons will result in a decline in criminal offending. And this is something that we've seen not just in Trinidad and Tobago and is well established in policing strategy, and it's something called selective deterrence. So the problem hinges on prosecution and conviction. So really what we have to examine is why are we not able to successfully prosecute and convict such persons? So we have to figure out what's going wrong. What's going wrong with the evidence? What's going wrong with the public in terms of their willingness to come forward, serve as witnesses and all of that, and all of the other elements that are required. So how can we gather the intelligence that's needed? How can agencies coordinate in the gathering of such intelligence? For instance, Police Intelligence Unit, SSA, Financial Intelligence Unit, etc. What can we do so that we can gather the evidence so that we can really deal effectively with criminal elements in this society?
Well, through my own observation, Dr. Sipasad, I think the criminal elements, they thrive on fear. And so many people are not willing to step forward because of that fear of intimidation, of being, ultimately dismissed of in a violent manner. So most times when a crime happens or someone sees something, they rather look away, or that willingness to testify, to stand up, doesn't really seem to be there with the general public anymore. And I guess the agencies need to ensure there's that blanket of security of making someone become anonymous, or even going as far as to let them migrate or something if it's a really big case. But I think it's really that fear, people are really fearful.
And you're totally right. Part of that has to do with the ability of the criminal justice system to adequately protect witnesses, which over and over we've seen, doesn't happen to the level that is really required. But a big part of that also has to do with public trust and confidence in the police, which is something, that over and over surveys have shown tends to be lacking. There are allegations of corruption. People are afraid to go to the police. Quite often you would hear people, voicing the opinion that if they go to the police may end up going right back to the criminal element. And I'm not saying this is the norm within the TTPS. More than likely, it's the exception rather than the norm. But sometimes, you just need one or two negative cases to occur, and it colors the whole perception of the public. So really, part and parcel of dealing effectively with this issue has to do with the police system as well as the criminal justice system really carefully examining what they're doing to protect witnesses, what they're doing to build that relationship between the public and the police so that you have that trust, you have that confidence, so that you deal very effectively with cases of police corruption and all of that, so that at the end of the day, the public feels that the police service and the criminal justice system, broadly speaking, is there to protect them, that it can actually protect them. But I dare say, again, I reiterate that that is just part of the key issue. One of the problems that we have is a lack of coordination amongst agencies in Trinidad and Tobago. Other countries in the region, for example, Grenada, have very, very high detection rates, quite over 60 and 70%. And they attribute those detection rates to the ability of agencies to communicate effectively with each other. We don't do that. If we can communicate effectively and gather the intelligence that we need and use it in a court of law, then we could still secure the convictions that we needed.
As you mentioned the TTPS, Dr. Sipasad, I want to take it now to the body cams. Obviously, recently we have heard, in terms of the public domain, from high-ranking folks within the judicial system encouraging citizens to videotape the interaction with the officers, and I think body cams on the officers will also add to that extra layer of transparency where we could hear from their side of the story when there's that particular engagement between TTPS and the general public. Where are you on this body camera scenario, and would it bring that added layer of transparency and good governance when it comes to the natural interaction? We know sometimes it's hostile. People get into their feelings when they're being pulled over, being summoned. The body cams, needed at this point in time? Very urgent?
Right. So in all honesty, the advantages far outweigh the disadvantages when it comes to the issue of body-worn cameras. You know, you mentioned the issue of accountability and transparency. It also helps to boost public trust. It also provides objective evidence, you know, in cases of use of force or other kinds of interactions with the public. It would certainly help to reduce false complaints against officers. It provides evidence for prosecution, you know, faster resolution to investigations and all of that, you know, whereas there are very, very few disadvantages. Of course, there are operational costs. You know, it takes a lot of effort to monitor the cams and all of that. But as I said, the advantages really do far outweigh the disadvantages. So in consideration of that, you know, it's something that the TTPS should really see as a piece of technology that they could actually use to their advantage. You know, perhaps they could consider trying it out on a pilot basis on a very small scale with a select group of officers to see, you know, the extent to which it works. I don't necessarily see this as tying the hands of police officers, which I suspect is part of the issue when it comes to using the, you know, body-worn cameras, because it is the case that police officers are supposed to work within the confines of the law, you know, and within the confines of the use of force policy, so that body-worn cameras really should not be seen as a hindrance. I would caution, though, you know, the public when it comes to the use of filming encounters with police officers, you know, on their private devices. I remember seeing very recently Mr. Zahir Ali, who, as we know, was a past legal officer of the TTPS and is now in the Ministry of Homeland Security, mentioning certain disadvantages of the public doing that. One of which, of course, is, you know, police mistakenly thinking that a person is pulling out a weapon when in fact they're actually pulling out their cell phones to videotape an encounter. But it is something that I think we should give a try. I think there are so many good reasons, you know, for using body-worn cameras.
So your advice to the public is to be mindful when they pull out their personal device to tape the interaction with officers?
Yes. No, I'm not saying don't necessarily use it. What I'm saying is I wouldn't encourage them necessarily to attempt to try and film anything and everything. So I'm not saying that there are only disadvantages to that, because there are certainly advantages. Sometimes.
Because I guess it brings in a question from what distance you're taping from, and once you're taping of the said officer and the exercise is not an obstruction, as it will, to their particular duty. So I guess a couple of different moving parts in a scenario like that. What's your advice to the public if they do decide to tape?
You know, just tape from a safe distance. Don't use it in a way that is threatening to the officer, which could inadvertently serve to escalate, you know, the negative side of the encounter, because sometimes officers may see that as an affront or an invasion of their privacy, and things could potentially go sideways. But at the same time, as I was saying, there are advantages. For instance, you capture an interaction on video that could be used as evidence in a court of law, and it's something that could exonerate a police officer. For instance, if there is a false claim, you know, of excessive use of force, the video footage could exonerate the officer. Of course, it could go in the opposite direction as well. So it's not a hard and fast black and white kind of situation. There are definitely advantages and disadvantages.
Do you think our officers are burnt out? Because I'm looking at state of emergency, lots had to put their vacation on the back burner. We went straight into a carnival season where many, I'm sure, would have preferred to be on the road, taking a trip, jumping up in our band. They had to go out there and work. We saw a strong police presence. The commissioner was leading that charge, and from all accounts, it was a safe carnival 2026. So I guess the sacrifice was well worth it. But ultimately, on that human level, where you're working, and you're getting no real time off to just really recuperate, do you think we could find ourselves with a burnt out TTPS?
I think that is definitely the case. For one, it calls for some systematic research into the level of burnout among police officers. I know, just to step aside as a little parallel, some colleagues and I went into the prison service, and we found that a very large proportion of officers were burnt out. And a very large proportion of officers, close to 60% in the prison service, actually had diagnosable levels of post-traumatic stress disorder. And that is something that's alarming. And I wouldn't be surprised at all to hear, you know, something like that happening in the police service as well, because what the research shows around the world is that it is indeed one of the most demanding jobs. And you have the police being spread even more thinly. For instance, police officers are in schools, and I know there is a debate surrounding that, where some would argue, and I think rightly so, that in schools, you know, perhaps you should put social workers, psychologists, etc., instead of police officers, because you've diverted some of the police officers to schools. Now, notwithstanding, I know there are advantages to doing that as well, but you've diverted some of the officers to schools, thereby effectively reducing the amount of officers available on the ground. And we know that the actual number of officers that we have in the TTPS is actually less than the sanctioned strength of the TTPS, you know, across all of the different divisions. And it means that the TTPS, as it is operating with fewer officers than they actually need to do the job. So they are under tremendous stress. And I think that is something that the public quite often doesn't recognize.
Yeah, and I mean, that will not augur well for, obviously, our national security if the personnel who are charged to treat with such are burnt out and you know, just mentally drained, because, again, that's a highly stressful job. And, of course, the interaction with the also frustrated public could only add more fuel to the fire.
Indeed.
What's your recommendation as we look to wrap things up as it pertains to state of emergencies going forward? Because, again, I think we would have had this discussion some weeks ago, months ago, where I wonder if we have come to a place where the state of emergency in itself has lost its sting. It has lost its impact. Because, you know, the only state of emergency I can remember growing up, you know, I remember in 1990, obviously, the attempted coup, and, you know, that's the first time I was a little boy at the time, you heard of a state of emergency, and it was taken very serious. But then after that, I found it to be something, previous administrations, current administration, they draw for And many kind of it's almost like business as usual. Even though we have seen now, obviously, a drop in the crime stats, but generally, I think most people, unless there's a curfew that comes with the state of emergency, it seems to be business as usual.
And I get what you're saying. People have habituated to the state of emergency now, notwithstanding that the statistics still very clearly show declines in crime during states of emergency, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, but in other countries like Jamaica, which have used similar strategies. But as I said, it's not the state of emergency per se that really results in the decline in crime, but it's the change in activities, particularly of the TTPS, the intelligence-led, the data-driven, the more targeted policing, the greater efforts. And as you rightly say, though, that is going to lead to a burnout in the police service, which is something that we have to be very, very careful about. So we have to think about the provision of psychological support services, recreational services, etc. We have to think about the sanction strength of the police service and whether we can improve the number of staff so that it meets the sanction strength, and even think about whether we need to increase the sanction strength of the TTPS, etc. So it's not the state of emergency per se, it's the activities that happen during the state of emergency. If we can sustain those kinds of activities, it means that we could actually get a handle on the crime situation. Now, I dare say, I know that the Zoso approach didn't get through Parliament, but I would urge that it can provide a means by which we could achieve the same kind of situation, right? I hear and I have heard, some of the points raised, especially by the independent senators, when it comes to guaranteeing human rights and transparency and accountability. I agree with those things. I would strongly suggest that some modification be made to that particular approach, and the government reconsiders the approach, but also see it as an opportunity not just to put more effective policing in place, but as an opportunity to also put the requisite services that are required in communities, especially high crime communities, that could really break that cycle of violence. So the kinds of psychological support, the kinds of things that really get at the root causes of violence, we could seriously make a difference as a country if we find a way to properly marry effective policing with proper intervention strategies. And the zone of special operations approach might be one of the approaches that could actually do that very, very well.
Well, Dr. C. Prasad, as always, a sincere thanks for coming on this morning. We'll touch base soon. And as always, thanks for the time and the candor on this Monday. Welcome, as always. We'll definitely touch base again soon.
Thank you. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Indeed. Yeah, always welcome there, Dr. Randy C. Prasad, criminologist, just giving a different perspective, a different layer to the conversation on crime and criminality, the justice system, and how we could treat with it going forward. Good conversation. We take the pause. We're going to come back and get into some housekeeping before the 7 a.m. news update. See you soon.
What, boy? The game showing clean, dog.
Hey, it's fast internet and best entertainment I paying for,
Yeah, girl. Yeah, my good, eh?
Hey, the call not sticking. So why are you taking so long to reply to your messages?
Hey, I get Wi-Fi quite out here.
Yeah, boy, that's Amplia. But what are you doing outside? Come inside and lime now.
I'll come in there.
Wi-Fi so fast, you'll be saying,
hey, it's Amplia.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800 TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800 TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Trinry. Premier insurance coverage for less.
Magical Expressions Limited is the largest local importer and distributor of fresh cut stems, offering the widest range of beautiful flowers at the most affordable prices. Call us today at 701-6488, 701-6680, 728-6786, or visit our website to order.
Carnival is coming, and you want to feel confident in your body. But when your appetite is low, gaining healthy weight can be a real challenge. That's where a Petamin comes in, an appetite stimulant that helps support better eating and healthy weight gain. With improved appetite, your body gets the nourishment it needs to build natural shape and fullness. So when carnival time reaches, you feel good, confident, and comfortable in your costume. Start a Petamin now and get carnival ready. A Petamin is available at pharmacies nationwide. Check your favourite pharmacy for special deals.
Recession have you down? Don't lose hope. Head on down to Tire Clinic for the recession deals. That should big savings with our road hazard warranty on Dunlop, Semitoma, and Falcon tires. Available at Tire Clinic, Cuba, Chaguanas, and Pleasance Park. Tire Clinic, a tire for every need. Call 636-8973 or 636-2958.
Let's remind you of ways you can contact us to get into important conversations. You're doing that via our email address. It's tmb@cnc3.co.tt. Short, concise, to the point, and we'll see you soon on set or via the Zoom line. That's right. We move into our social media handles, Instagram, Facebook, and X. Very active. Lots of information there via our social media feed, and you can stay on top of every single development. Another important platform for that is the CNC3 mobile app. Must have on your smartphone, your #1 source for verified breaking news, all your favorite content on demand. Get it today. Let's move across to the Guardian. 108 years of legacy. The Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, to be in business and on the shelves for 108 years. We can understand what we're doing. All your top developments and stories in the world of business, sports, you name it, it's there. Just visit guardian.co.tt for your subscription today. Let's head into our food for thought, words to inspire on this Monday morning. What you do today can improve all your tomorrows. Again, what you do today can improve all your tomorrows. Beautiful words. Let's head across to our world weather wrap with Jamark. Jamark, good morning.
Good morning. We'll kick off today's weather wrap on the brighter side of things. Over the last few days, the Sunly unleashed its largest solar radiation storm in more than 20 years. When solar radiation storms reach Earth, they can cause increased radiation exposure risks for astronauts like those aboard the International Space Station. It can also impact airline passengers flying near the North or South Poles. The increase in radiation can disrupt satellites that people rely on for communications and navigation like GPS. And the solar storm can also cause auroras, also known as the Northern Lights, which were visible here on Earth. The lights were seen across Canada and the northern United States yesterday evening. Now, on to a climate story. The world has entered a new era of severe water problems, one that has irreversible consequences, according to a new United Nations report. It says the planet's water situation is so severe that terms like water crisis don't capture its magnitude. The report's author calls it a global water bankruptcy, and the situation is described like this. Nature provides income in the form of rain and snow, but the world is using more of those resources than it receives, putting us in debt. Climate change-fueled heat and drought compound the problem as well. Now, if countries recognize water bankruptcy, they can move from short-term emergency thinking to long-term strategies to reduce irreversible damage. The report calls for a series of actions, such as transforming farming through shifting crops and more efficient irrigation, better water monitoring, reducing pollution, and increasing protection for wetlands and groundwater. Now, let's head on to our local forecast for today, where we can expect initially sunny conditions with a few showers developing over eastern areas of Trinidad at first, but then by the afternoon, those showers will tend to favor the western areas and can become moderate to heavy, especially over extreme western areas. The Saharan dust is also expected to continue decreasing, becoming negligible as the day progresses. And good news, I'm not seeing any significant plumes on the horizon for us in the coming week. That's all for today's weather wrap. Back to you.
Jean-Marc Sincere, thanks. 7 a.m. news update. It's next. See you soon.
There's a hole in the bucket.
Well, fix it, dear Johnny. Just fix it. And while you're doing that, remember the roof is leaking, the house needs painting, all those kitchen tiles need changing. So tell me, Johnny, what about the plumbing? The driveway needs paving. Plus, you promised to add a new room to the house. I find it's about time. Johnny? Fix it.
There has never been a better time for a TBLA home improvement loan. Call us today at 623-1501 or visit us at tblamortgages.com.
What is Apex? It is the pinnacle of high-performance vision through a lens. It's customized with every digital measurement your eyes require to see at their very best. Value Optical. Expert care for your eyes.
Enjoy seamless, comfortable vision for reading, driving, or working on the go. No switching glasses, one lens with clarity that adapts to you. See the difference with Apex Camber Ultimate Progressive Lenses from Value Optical. Expert care for your eyes.
Good morning, I'm Sonia Gray with headline news on CNC3 and the TPC Radio Network. Despite the delayed arrival of the MV Blue Wave Harmony in Scarborough on Sunday morning, it has been nearly 3 weeks since the Chief Secretary appealed for grace and patience during the transition between cargo vessels. Farley Augustine admits to the gravity of the situation and apologized to Tobago. He says unfortunate events, technical issues, and even over-ambitious planning has left Tobagonians scrambling for basic supplies. But he says he expects the Port Authority to meet its March 1st deadline for the first commercial sailing of the MV Blue Wave, and that a plan must be implemented to ensure food security in case of emergencies.
This speaks to a larger issue that we have. As I said, we started a study last year to look at how long can Tobago sustain itself food-wise without any sailing of the vessel. The answer to that question is important.
Last October, the government launched a national recruitment drive promising more than 20,000 jobs via the Employ TT website. Months later, while over 30,000 people applied, only 1,801 have been hired so far, and only the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure has hired through the program. This stat has drawn harsh condemnation from opposition leader Penelope Beckles, who calls the program a publicity stunt and accuses the Kamala Persad-Bissessa administration of using the promise of thousands of jobs as a smokescreen to mask the most severe economic downturn in the nation's history. Meanwhile, political analyst Derek Ramsey-Mouge is warning young voters hoping for opportunities they will be disappointed.
This is because the financial reality is that the government of Trinidad and Tobago does not have the financial resources to meet the expectation of the population.
Those were your 7 a.m. news headlines. We'll have another news update at 8 a.m. on the TBC Radio Network.
Brunswick tuna. Perfect for snacking on a cracker. On its own. Snacking made easy. Snacking made healthy. Snacking made tasty.
Welcome to the second hour. It is open forum time, a chance to touch base, connect with me, and not only me, the entire nation. So we say welcome, good morning. I believe St. James is standing by. Welcome.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, St. James.
Hey, JW, morning, bro.
Morning.
How things with you and the team?
All is well, all is well. We're good to go. I think everybody rested and recovered, and we're back to business now.
Nice, man, nice. Brand new week, and we transitioning into the Lenten season. I just tuned in not too long ago, so I saw the conversation you were having with the criminologist, and I really wanted to comment briefly going back to Friday. I had a conversation with the MSG leader. A couple of things he mentioned, opportunities for labor, etc. And I was thinking of the conversation as the criminologist you had just now, would have said that crime is a social issue, and I'm sure other persons might say. So, first obvious point would be like equal opportunity, right? So once all citizens, you have an equal opportunity to education, to employment, I think to healthcare, to all the facilities, then there's really no reason for wrongdoing, just in my humble opinion. So, that's one point there. And I would have seen recently, too, that the TTPS, they launched a podcast, which I was happy to see, because, sometimes when you see security personnel, they seem a bit tense sometimes, and we really shouldn't have those persons being tense. So I think in my mind, it might be nice for them to see some perspectives and conversations from persons in a similar field to bring that ease, because really and truly in my mind, the mindset, we really should just be, producing as a country, thriving, and the whole issue about crime, that should be a thing of the past as we progress and move forward. So just some gentle contributions from me. And I saw in the news there recently, they talk about the attempts from the current administration to promote employment. And you saw some, criticisms from the opposition leader saying that it appears to be a smokescreen or whatnot. I think it would be nice if, when the opposition team comments in, that not just give the criticisms, but, as you were in office for like a certain period of time, you should still be in a position to comment and give some facts, well, this is the resources that were available at the time that we demitted office. So it's possible you could do this, all in the focus of country building. So thanks you so much for the opportunity, Jay.
You're welcome.
It's all about, positive development, and keep up the great work you're doing, man.
All right, St. James, take it easy. 624-8721, 627-8658. We back to business. I think everyone should be rested, ready, good to go. Carnival is clearly now behind us, and back to function, to making it function yet again. Actually, I hosted the Lanyap on Saturday, the Champs in concert. Great turnout, and I was quite impressed with some of the youngsters who performed on the stage that night. Well done to the next generation of performers. Really, really happy and impressed. Pleasantville, good morning. Good morning, Pleasantville. Pleasantville, good morning. We're not hearing from Pleasantville. Let's try again. 624-8721 and 627-8658. Open forum, a chance for you to just connect, touch base, tell us what's on your mind. We're going to get back to some of our segments.
Hello, morning.
Oh, morning. Is this Pleasantville?
Yeah, Jason.
Okay, fantastic. Great. Good morning.
Right, I can hardly hear you, but it will suffice.
Yes.
Jason, listen, some of the areas, this Zozo situation that we had recently there, where it failed in the Senate, if you look at the Jamaican model that they were speaking about, that Jamaican model, Jason, even the police in Jamaica told us that without social intervention, it's not a Zozo. And what they did in Jamaica to make it successful was that they had 3 phases. They had a hold phase, what is called a build phase, and they went, Jason, in these, it's not just about the police presence and law enforcement security, where they went in these areas and they worked with people and they had social interventions, Jason, and where the security was able to establish this presence. You see, Jason, when you remove, you have to find avenues where young people in society, particularly the ones that are not, we should say, successful, are given opportunities. Jason, you do not remove the youth camps in certain areas, and you have put nothing in place for these young people. You do not, remove people from employment, thousands of people from a certain sector of the society, and replace it with nothing. There is no program that has been introduced for young people. Everything that was done by the former administration for the youths to develop themselves as virtual citizens was removed. Nothing was replaced. And you have to go into these areas and work on these situations, Jason. You don't just speak about, it's not about just the presence of security. And listen, Jason, before I go, I remember one time we had in this country where the police had a day of total policing that upset the society as a whole. Every day should be a day of total policing. It's as simple as that. Every single day. It's not about overworking the police. They have to make their presence seen and their presence felt. Every day should be a day of total policing.
But that means Pleasantville, we live in a police state. I mean, what kind of society? Oh my goodness, he come up the line. No, I can't. Pleasantville, I kind of lose my word on one day. I can't see why every day should be so intense because that particular day it was very frustrating. It's very fresh in my mind. And I guess if you want to, probably shake the cage a little bit, I understand what you're saying. But every day, Pleasantville, that's a bit extreme. I don't even know if you know like Pleasantville could deal with that every single day. That's a lot, And we already established our police are burnt out. We come out of a state of emergency straight into a carnival. These officers are just on the go. Many had to forego and to put on the back burner their vacation. It's a tall ask. But Pleasantville, I hear you. It's I guess it's coming from a place of total frustration. Thank you so much, Pleasantville. Let's stay in the Southland and head to Tabaquit. Good morning, Tabaquit. Morning, welcome.
A pleasant morning to you, Mr. Williams.
Yes. Morning, Tabaquit.
You hearing me properly, Mr. Williams?
Loud and clear, man. Loud and clear.
Right. Now, what engaging my attention is CARICOM, the heads of CARICOM meet. And what really engaging my attention, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, will be there today. And I wait to hear what the chairman of CARICOM will say in regards to Cuba. And since Marco Rubio will be there, I do not want to speak out of turn. I am waiting with bated breath to hear what announcement Marco Rubio would make there in regards to Cuba. Because we're well aware, come tomorrow night, the president will have the State of the Union address. And coincidentally, that we have the backdrop where he is here, the president will be speaking tomorrow, how that will impact CARICOM, what kind of decision CARICOM, that collective agreement in regards to all Caribbean leaders will be there. So I wait to see. I know you is an astute and a good journalist, critical. I hope you bring something for us, probably if not tomorrow sometime. But this here is my big one, what Marco Rubio will say as we launch the CARICOM summit today. What will happen, how it will pan off, and how it will affect Cuba. That's my contribution this morning. I think it's timely. Let's see, because we're well aware that as we speak, there is fresh sanction and embargo on Cuba. Cuba is in darkness as we speak. So let's see how it pan off, what the chairman of CARICOM will say. And Marco Rubio is in the Caribbean. He is in town. He will address this summit this morning. Let's wait and see. Mr. Jason, Tabakit out and off. Thanks for giving me voice.
Yeah, Tabakit, let me tell you this morning, Tabakit, you're spot on. Because I myself, I'm also waiting with bated breath as to what will be said, what will be the policy position. We know that CARICOM would have held a particular position, and obviously many. We look at Cuba as our neighbor up north. They have sent so many medical professionals to not only Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, all parts of the region. So we wait to see. A matter of fact, Mexico had to bring some much necessary and needed aid last week because we are almost, our hands are tied as it pertains to Cuba. So Tabakit, come to the front of the class this morning. You're spot on, and I, just like many, will be listening and trying to make sense of what's going to happen there via this very important, and not only important, but a milestone CARICOM meeting, the 50th, and our Prime Minister is indeed in attendance. She couldn't miss this one. Could not miss this one. We must have had our representation, so I thought that was indeed, I mean, I can't even imagine not having our representation there. Santa Cruz, you have the final say for our open forum this morning. Good morning, Santa Cruz.
Morning, Jason. I hardly hear anything. But I want to zero in, I think, was Pleasantville, the point that he made in terms of the government closing down all the programs that the PNM had in place with respect to engaging the young people, and replace it with nothing. What they replace it with, based on what the Minister of Local Government was saying, is 20 days for Carnival to clean up the place. You cannot do that, because if you're removing programs, you must replace it with something tangible whereby the people can benefit. The youth camp is a benefit, or was a benefit, to the young people of Trinidad and Tobago. And as long as they close down the agricultural program, then you leave hundreds of young people idling. With respect to the Cuba situation, I was very disappointed with our Prime Minister chastising former leaders for supporting Cuba humanitarian cause. It's a humanitarian cause. And how you as Prime Minister could denounce the former leaders of the Caribbean with their support for Cuba based on sanctions that has been put by the American people and causing Cuban people to suffer. I think the voice of the Caribbean leaders, former leaders, is a good voice in respect to what is happening in Cuba. And I think our Prime Minister is totally irrelevant and out of place and not understanding humanitarian done, because she draw reference to communist country and that kind of thing. And yet still we do business with China. What China is? If you tell me what China is, we get things from Russia, what all those countries are. You understand me? So I think the Prime Minister was totally out of place with respect to the nonsense, the former leaders, with respect to the whole question of the support for Cuba. It's a humanitarian support. Thank you, Jason. This is Mr. Santa Cruz signing off this morning.
Thank you, Santa Cruz. And you know, so I was obviously making mention of Pleasantville's point in terms of the day of policing, which I found was a bit much. However, his point, and also Santa Cruz was able to remind the nation of indeed some of the programs, and I remember many of them by name: Hoist, Amplify, major programs that would have been in place for young people to at least get a start, to wet their feet, as it were, when it comes to their passion and their particular vocation. And so many of these particular programs would have been shelved. I don't know if it's a financial issue, I don't know what was the particular reason. But if we want to impact crime and criminality and ensure that we don't keep perpetuating this kind of darkness, we need to offer the young people hope and give them a certain light within the darkness. And that comes with opportunity. And if opportunity is not readily available, unfortunately, not all, but some unfortunately go down a particular road where there's no coming back. And we have to treat with this not from a symptom point of view, but trying to cure it. And to cure it takes a deeper dive, really. And it's really unfortunate. So Tabakit and Santa Cruz, thanks for that reminder. And I hope the powers that be, if they're looking on, you still have some time to put some plans in place and to put some kind of strategy in place for the young people, because again, they're looking on, and I've said time and time again, we as the adults, the hard back, we back hard, we out here now, we out here a long time. We have to look out for the young people. When we pass that baton to the next generation, we can't fumble the baton, throw the baton on the ground, we'll put them to the back of the race. So it's important to ensure that there is continuity, and we set the particular tone and example and give them the baton in a place so that they could take it to the next level. With that, we take the pause. We're going to come back, a very important conversation ahead as we treat with the Forex crisis. Vivek Sharan from the CRBC, he is with me to treat with this very important conversation. See you soon.
Carnival is coming, and you want to feel confident in your body. But when your appetite is low, gaining healthy weight can be a real challenge. That's where a Petamin comes in, an appetite stimulant that helps support better eating and healthy weight gain. With improved appetite, your body gets the nourishment it needs to build natural shape and fullness. So when carnival time reaches, you feel good, confident, and comfortable in your costume. Start a Petamin now and get carnival ready. A Petamin is available at pharmacies nationwide. Check your favorite pharmacy for special deals.
PRWC, protect your loved ones with a Western Global Security Combo, only $3,000. PS5 console game, $5,400. Unwind with an 85-inch Samsung TV, $9,999. HP 14-inch laptop for $1,900. Amazon 8-inch Fire tablet, $760. HP print scan copy printer, $625. We have speakers, mouse, printers, and lots more. 3 months layaway also.
Mom, Dad, this is Trevor.
Hi. He's no Kieran.
Back up.
Fling?
That's why he crossed the road.
It was funny when Kieran said it.
Ooh, who could that be?
We're like the parents who don't miss your ex.
I can't believe Kieran is in the neighborhood.
CG United. Good like that.
The chairman of the CRBC joins me, Vivek Sharan. Always a pleasure to have Chairman Sharan with me to treat in real time with the issues of the day. And of course, the Forex crisis continues to be a major talking point. But I'm happy you're here because it's a timely conversation. We have just come out of the Carnival 2026 experience, and I know that there would have been a Forex boost. Many would have received in real time, US in hand, from the taxi man to those with the Airbnbs and the big business. So do you ever, based on empiricals and just general information, coming back to the CRBC, is there an injection, is there a difference in the Forex mood post-Carnival of any given year? I really wanted to start with that particular question, seeing that you're here with me. And good morning, Vivek. Great to see you as always.
Good morning, Jason. Good morning to you and all your viewers. Fed over and back to work, Jason.
Back to work.
Carnival was, I enjoyed Carnival. It was nice.
A great success.
We're back to serious stuff. And yes, you're 100% correct, Jason. A lot of the reports, as a matter of fact, even from Shagaramas just the other day, I was receiving reports that, US was trickling into the hands of a lot of people. And you are also correct when you say that the Carnival period, and the Carnival period really highlights how important tourism is, because it is one of the sectors that allows Forex to be placed directly into the hands of, the working man or the working woman, whether you're in transport, taxi driver, whatever, whether you're in food, whether you're a vendor, food vendor, whether you're selling souvenirs, whether you are one of the people doing tours, small tours, so, when I heard about the Stink and Dirty Fest, and I heard that this is an 18 to 19,000 person strong fete, I thought that was incredible, Jason. I mean, while I understand the issues with traffic and so on, and the things that happen after, we are, after all, a small island. But when you think about that we have the capacity here and we have the skills for people to throw a 19 to 18,000 person fete, right? And people are safe afterwards. Basically, the fete itself went through without a hitch. Think about the tremendous US dollar potential. If we could pack that stadium, or we could pack a venue with paying cruise ship passengers to come to a fete like that, I mean, it's tremendous.
Yeah.
And that is exactly, I feel that passionately about that is the direction we're supposed to go in.
You're talking festivals, like Coachella, right, or Tomorrowland in Belgium and these places. We could, outside of the carnival, that's a great recommendation. We could curate festivals.
Right, and you're 100% correct, and be innovative about it. Like most of these things, like Tomorrowland, EDM, electronic, music festivals and so on. But what about a soca electronic, like what Major Lazer used to do and stuff like that, a festival that is similar to that. But it also allows us to market the culture outside of the direct, carnival period. So we can do it during like peak, cruise ship times and so on, or different times to the year, and market it to the diaspora within the Caribbean, as well as, those areas that are easily accessible to Trinidad by direct flights, which is Miami, New York, the UK, and so on. I'm sure people would come from as far as Germany, because we have a large European contingent from Germany that comes here for Carnival and has done so religiously over the years. So I feel that the potential is huge. And then, when I was hearing about the impact of yachties and ships coming into, yachts coming into that Chaguaramas area, throughout the year, particularly, when we are sort of a safe harbor for that hurricane season, there's a lot of U.S. Small transactions and so on that happens in the area as well too, Jason. And that's I think that's critically important, given the situation, because, recently we had this IMF report. So the IMF came down here, and basically they were saying, Trinidad and Tobago foreign exchange system remains stable but very tight. The central bank is having to supply significantly more US to the system. Republic Bank had reported that it's about 93. It's increased a lot significantly quarter to quarter. Reserves are adequate, but the trend is a downward trend. And while the IMF said there's no immediate crisis, the IMF signaled that the current system is becoming more costly to maintain. And what that means to us in the business sector is that, forex supply is tight. It continues to still be tight.
I'll tell you this, Vivek. It's interesting you went there, because it brings me to the next point, and I think it's a natural observation. We just established the U.S., it's circulating right now. People got U.S. in hand. I mean, I saw it in real time. I had some friends from Jamaica. They were purchasing food on the avenue. They paid in U.S. The lady smiled. She put the U.S. in her pocket. The question is, lots of folks with the U.S. in hand now, they keep it at home, they hoard it. There is not that confidence to put it into the system, because unfortunately, when you want to get it back out, you're being told you have to bring a plane ticket. You could only get so much on a given day. How do we get that confidence back so people could start to put the U.S.? Because I sincerely believe there is U.S. floating in Trinidad, It's just not in the system.
That's also a very good point. And I think that's critical. It's not only critical for, let's say, the average citizen who is earning U.S. dollars as a salary or wage and keeping it in the bank, but it's also critical for sectors like our manufacturing sector. whom we want, we really need them to have as much of their U.S. profits that they make from their exports in Trinidad and Tobago, and not necessarily in a place like, the U.S., which provides better investment opportunities. And this really is a conversation that has to be held directly with the Trinidad and Tobago commercial banks. When, the Confederation had met with, very early on as he had come into the position, the central bank governor, Larry Howard, and we were chatting, we were trying to chat constructively about the Forex situation. He had mentioned at the time that it is dire and it is something that they are concerned about and he wants to work actively on it. We did raise the situation. I raised the question of confidence. What about people don't have the confidence necessarily to put money into their accounts because they feel, A, they can't access it because there's all these, so the banks say, no, that's not the case. But then, word of mouth around is that there's a lot of speculation about the fact that if suddenly you need 2,000 US or 5,000 US, it doesn't matter how much money you have in your account, in excess of that, it's going to take you at least 2 weeks or something like that to pull it out. The banks say no, the people say yes. It's simple things like that. But then we also raise the question of what can the banks do to attract US dollar deposits? What incentives are there? What rates of return, are there? Can they create, special packages? Can they create special, types of deposits that earn some sort of increased revenue or increased interest for the people that are willing to, the companies that are willing to, to put their money into the system of the deposits in the bank. And I think that is also critical to build confidence, because as individuals and companies start to increase their US dollars, the earning of US dollars, then the obvious knee-jerk response is, well, let's invest this let's go to a bank in Miami or New York and put it in a bank in Miami, New York. Yeah. No, it's not that easy, because a lot of banks don't accept foreign, a lot of these US banks don't accept foreigners' accounts anymore. So it's not as easy. Perhaps with companies it's different, but it's still not as easy. There's a lot of regulation process and you have to go through a lot of screening and so on. But nonetheless, you raise a critical point about, confidence within our commercial banking sector and US dollar deposits and the individuals putting in US dollar deposits. And that also raises another important, an important fact that I want to raise, that very often, we keep talking about the price of US dollars is not, it's much more than it should, it's much less than it should be. It should be 10 to 1, it should be 11 to 1, it should be, but we actually have a range of factually, the real deal out there is that we have a range of, we have a range of exchange rates. So we have the bank exchange rate, which is 6.78.
6.7, yeah.
Right.
And most places now is 7, 7.50, and now 8 in some places.
Right, correct. So you have the upper end of the black market, which kind of stuck at 8. And then in between that, you have a situation where the banks have begun to lend people TT dollars at a rate of interest for a specific amount of time. TT dollars in order for them to purchase US dollars. And when you work that out, so for example, you have a loan of X amount at 5% interest for X amount of time, let's say a year, what you find is that the actual effective exchange rate that you are paying to the bank, which takes into account, the interest you're paying and that sort of thing, right? It is actually more than 6.78. It's more like 7.1 to 7.2. So I would say that these are the ranges. So you have 6.79, which is a direct purchase. You have upwards of 7.1 to 7.2, which is if you access financing from the bank to purchase US dollars. And then you have the the black market, which is at the upper end, 8-1.
Well, I'll tell you this, Viveka, it's such a fluid story. We'll have to definitely continue with a part 2. Just keep us posted with new developments. As always, great to see you. I have to run at this point in time, but yeah, let's see if we could find some kind of solution and at least keep the conversation going throughout 2026.
Yeah, well, there's a lot more to say about this, and there's a lot of things that are meant to happen in the country. Revitalization plan, come May, June, we're supposed to hear whether we're going to have foreign direct investment in that.
Yeah, well,
next year. So, yeah, you know, it remains fluid, as you said, Jason.
Indeed. Vivek, all the best. We'll touch base soon. That's right, Vivek Sharon touching base with us, chairman of the CRBC. We take that pause and we come back much more around the corner. We touch base with our friends at the Unit Trust Corporation and their retirement campaign. Details after the break.
Okay, let me see you, Cherry Hill. Yeah, now take it back. Let me see you rock off, shake off. Let me see you rock off. Let me see you kick right. Now step forward, now step back.
Lucozade, bring the energy. Unbeatable taste, new look.
Shake off. Let me see you rock off.
From the producers of Ridiculous 6.5 and 7-Year Itch comes a brand new ridiculously funny comedy.
Two Fat Fellas. Friday 6th, Saturday 7th, and Sunday 8th of March. Queen's Hall. 3 nights only.
Two Fat Fellas stars Cecilia, Penny, Kevon, Zachary, Rachel, and Rhodey.
Tickets available at Dorman Shoe Store along Circular Mall, K-Square Stores, Eastgate Mall, Brentwood Plaza, Beachology, Mokurapo Road. Queen's Hall box office opens on the 23rd of February. And islandetickets.com. For more info on 683-4843.
Two Fat Fellas. Queen's Hall. 3 nights only. Two Fat Fellas.
Struggling with blood sugar swings, high blood pressure, or stiff joints? Take control with Aja Nutrition's powerful wellness trio. Berberine Plus supports healthy blood sugar. Blood pressure support helps keep your pressure in check. And Joint Aid keeps your joints moving so you can stay active every day. Don't wait. Choose Aja Nutrition for trusted, effective solutions. Available at Pennywise and leading pharmacies nationwide. Feel better, move better, live better with Aja Nutrition.
Why am I talking to him like he real now? When y'all pick your family, you have to bring at least one ignorant family member.
But he don't get out for another month. That was the problem.
Let's get it on. Have a good time. Let's play Feud,
everybody. Some of us like to test limits, but there won't always be second chances. Obey the speed limits. Maybe you don't value your life, but others value theirs. A message from the TTPS.
You're in Couva on the main road and you check out the UTC Investment Center and you ask for Rodney Boudram. That's right, you're going to get some great advice, great conversation. He's here with me, a matter of fact, to treat with a very important talking point. It's one actually that's kind of on my mind at my age now, you know, being in media for all these years and kind of looking towards the next couple of years, and we're treating with retirement. And I recognize UTC, they're on their retirement campaign. So great to have you, Manager Boudram. Rodney, great to see you, and welcome again.
Thank you very much for having me.
I mean, this conversation is one, around what age you feel, around when someone should start at least thinking or at least planning their retirement?
Well, retirement should be now. There's no specific age. It's better if you start earlier, you get more time, more years to put into it. So let's say you're a 25-year-old person, the earlier you start, you have a lot more. What you would have is more
time as opposed to more salary. The two will work together, but it's how you allocate the time and use the time to be able to accumulate that. As opposed to someone who is 45 years, you're looking at less time, 15 years plus towards retirement. So you'll have to now contribute more. Your lifestyle may be affected, but you can still get there. It all depends on how and the effort you make towards your retirement and looking at your retirement picture.
You know, the NIB conversation must come in. What's your advice in that regard? Because I know there would have been changes in that particular business model, as it were.
Right. So based on that, the contributions would have been increased. So what we are doing is trying to bring awareness to the NIB is a financial floor. It's not the ceiling. So you would still have to provide. It's just a foundation that would have been created for you. So you would now have to supplement that pension or that benefit that you have. Remember, it's a social basic benefit that would have been provided to help start meet some of your needs at retirement, and you now would have to take it to that other level. Remembering, NIB is just a foundation, and as with any house, the foundation is not the house. You want to be able to build the walls and the roof, and that is by you providing for yourself to be able to supplement that pension.
You know, you mentioned 25 is the perfect age to start thinking about the retirement scenario. But for me, in my mid-40s now, moving into that nice 50 milestone, is there a difference really as to how 25-year-old JW and 45-plus-year JW would approach it, especially with this whole NIB change, as it were, with your contributions?
So remember, the 25-year-old JW, now starting out, you're now earning that income. You have a lot of years in front of you. So whatever you put out for yourself now would be able to maximize. And as life increases, you could always increase the benefit or increase the payment, and it helps supplement when you retire to the NIB benefit. The 45-year-old JW, which is, well, not saying that you're 45, but at the same time, yeah.
I'll always be 25 with shipping and taxes, but realistically, I'm there now.
I'm not around that age also. So yeah, it's a challenge for us in trying to put out and things. So what will end up happening is that as we put out more, our lifestyle may change because we're focusing more on retirement. We're allocating more for disposable income today as opposed to other things. It's just it's a bigger discipline for us to be able to make sure that our retirement is good.
Why is investing now so important? Because I've always heard about this term called the retirement gap. Could you elaborate on what is that exactly?
So the retirement gap is the difference between your expenses at retirement and your income. So you want to be able to make sure that all your expenses and needs at retirement is taken care of. So let's use an example. If $8,000 is your expenses and your income is only $3,000, your retirement gap is $5,000. So the $5,000 would be taken up by all these additional little plans that you can take out at the unit trust that will help supplement that $5,000 and help meet the $8,000 expense.
In terms of the campaign, when you come into UTC, is it that the particular plan you're going to invest in, the forecast financially for your future with this retirement, is it tailor-made? Is it bespoke? Is it made for the individual, or is it like particular plans you have in place and you could fall into a preset investment plan?
So we have different plans. We have 3 pillars basically that we all normally point people towards. So first of all, when you come into the unit trust, we are not just placing you into any plan. It's a conversation we want to have with you. As you said, the 40-something-year-old JW, you want to sit them down and say, these are the benefits here, and find a plan that will work for you best. So we have the IRUA, or the individual retirement unit account, and we have the URF, or the universal retirement fund. Those 2 plans are basically cash lump sums you get at the end of it that will be able to help you invest and make more additional income for yourself at retirement. The both of them are tied towards stocks and bonds type portfolio, so you get consistent growth over the period of it. But then you might be the different JW that say, hey, I'm paying too much taxes. I would like to get something that will help me there. Our pensions plus product, it's our annuity or deferred tax annuity plan that will allow for you to make that $50,000 contribution and get the tax break on it. That will increase your disposable income that will allow you to invest more. Yeah. And grow what you have towards your retirement.
Rodney, as we wrap things up, how can folks contact you or contact the UTC to get more information?
So one thing before we say that, I'd just like to say retirement is now, as you said before, we would definitely want you to start and come in. You can come into any one of our investment centers. We have 9 investment centers and agencies that you can go to. And then you have, when you come in, if you don't want to come into the agency, you could always come into one of our websites. Or we have the ttutc.com website that you can go to get information and request a meeting. You can also go to any one of our social media handles that would be able to help you.
Manager there at UTC Investment Center in Couva, Rodney Boudram, touching base. All the best, Rodney. Great to see you, man.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. We take the pause. We come back much more as we work our way to 8 o'clock.
PRWC, protect your loved ones with a Western Global Security Combo, only $3,000. PS5 console game, $5,400. Unwind with an 85-inch Samsung TV, $9,999. HP 14-inch laptop for $1,900. Amazon 8-inch Fire tablet, $760. HP print, scan, copy printer, $625. We have speakers, mouse, printers, and lots more. 3 months layaway also.
Bread. I'm sure you have a ton of clients coming in now, close to Carnival, afraid of bread.
Yes, everybody, because they don't really know the nutritional benefits and the secret in freezing bread.
Well, we're going to basically kind of get rid of that fear today. Our bread has a handful of ingredients, precious of ingredients, all natural enzymes, no artificial color.
No other preservatives.
No other preservatives, and we actually blend our own wheat flour.
But will that make the bread mold faster?
Bread should mold.
How long before it molds?
1 week. 1 week.
So nothing longer than a carnival relationship?
Nah, nothing longer than a carnival relationship.
So carbohydrates are essential. We need carbs in our diet. People have this fear of carbohydrates, they stay away from bread. It's not taboo anymore.
Correct.
Once you have a balanced diet, you have adequate protein, adequate carbohydrates, and adequate amount of healthy fats, your diet is fine. If you need more advice, feel free. Talk to a trainer, talk to a doctor. We can give you advice on how to break your diet down, micro and macronutrient-wise.
Celebrity Family Feud is a show I like because I get to meet people that I happen to be fans of. Jack, how you feel, man?
I'm feeling good. Glad to be here. About to bust these guys up.
Ah, come on! Let's get it on!
That's okay.
You got me.
Name something you like to do to Steve Harvey while he's sleeping.
Tickle him. Sex?
Don't miss the gripping drama Cabo. Sundays at 8 p.m. only on CNC3.
Dr. LeBlanc is here with me on this beautiful Monday morning. And yeah, we were just doing our little carnival recap. But,
a little?
Yes. But obviously, it's a different talking point. I recall this was done last year. You're bringing it back.
I am. Good morning. I hope everybody's fine. Yes.
And what we're talking about was that amazing camp that Doc had last year, navigating menopause and
perimenopause, yeah.
Perimenopause, as a matter of fact. The retreat, and I recognize you took the ladies into nature. You had the big conversations. You were able to curate a whole experience here, and I recognize clearly it did well last year, so we're doing it again, bigger and better, right?
It's not only about doing well and big and better. It's about fulfilling that need that I see in our environment. Perimenopause and menopause is not a disease, first of all. It's something that women have been going through for years. It's part of our natural reproductive transition. However, more and more we're able to speak about it, and more, women are airing what they're feeling, how they're feeling, and really seeking help. And JW, it gets attention when Oprah talks about it, when actresses talk about it, but the average woman, when she speaks about it, is not getting the attention. So now it's about us coming together, debunking the myths, supporting one another, being empowered, and giving us as West Indian women, most importantly, tools to go through this transition.
What does this process, natural process, do to the psychological setting of a woman? Is it one that women sometimes go into a kind of low place, understanding that, you're getting up in age now, and this, what you would have heard about when you were young, and you're now out of that phase. It's now actually happening. What's the psychological play on this moment?
As a perimenopausal woman, very happy, selectively plump, enjoying life, I can tell you that it's really, and this is my message to all the women out there, it's about us being proactive. We know that we're going to have our periods. We know we're going to go through our periods. We know our periods are going to stop. We know we're going to have children. We know we're going to get pregnant. We know all of that in our reproductive lives. We're taught that. We have to go through those experiences. For me, as a perimenopausal woman, I made a conscious decision to be proactive and to prepare my body to enter that transition holistically and naturally. And this is my message to all women out there. So for me, it's not, oh my God, am I going to get a hot flash? Oh my God, am I going to have brain fog? Oh my God, the aches and pains. Am I going to get the shoulder pain? Am I not going to want to have sex anymore? Because that's a big taboo topic. No, this is about us saying we are women, and we're going to appreciate every single phase of our reproductive life and live it happily and enjoy it, because we are here to celebrate ourselves and our lives.
Time is really tight this morning. And
I know.
Yeah. I would love to get to the date, the cost factor, and the timing, and where women could go.
The date is March 8th, because once again, I was so blessed, International Women's Day. Okay. So we're going to give to gain. We're going to balance the scales of our reproductive lives. So it's at Carmel Valley Estate in Mocha Maraval. A lovely, lovely place, really natural, holistic. We're going to have a cocoa tour. We're going to do it differently this year, ladies. It's about the tools with exercise. We're going to speak about diets. How we're going to eat. We're going to we're going to do different types of exercise, so that you're not coming stush, you're not coming in stiff clothes, you're coming to have fun. We're going to laugh, cry, we're going to eat, we're going to enjoy ourselves and empower each other to walk this transition. It's March 8th, it's 10 to 3, Carmel Valley, Mocha, in Carmel Valley Estate in Mocha Maraval. And you can look for us on my Instagram, VictoriaClinic_Trinidad, and there has the registration QR code. You can register. It's $650 per person. And you can also, for companies out there who are looking for sponsorship, want to sponsor, come on board. We still have space. But think of this, ladies, as an opportunity for us to be empowered, to be strong, and to go into this phase of our lives happily.
Dr. LeBlanc, always great to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I look forward to seeing you again.
Soon, yes. We take that pause and we come back. Dr. LeBlanc making our way out, and we get into some more discussions before we wrap things up at 8 o'clock. See you soon.
Step into ABC Doors and Windows, where quality meets variety. Discover premium wooden, steel panel, fiberglass, and steel security doors alongside aluminum, UPVC, and steel windows designed for strength and durability. At ABC, we're always a better choice, delivering products built to last and service you can rely on. Visit our showroom at 1 Chanka Trace, El Socorro South, or call 638-7184 to make your dream home a reality.
In the ever-changing media landscape, we at Guardian Media strive always to put you, our viewers and readers, first.
We strive to uphold the time-honored tenets of responsible journalism.
For us, accuracy is key.
And in our reporting, we strive not only to be first, but fair,
impartial,
and to uphold journalistic integrity.
Above all, we are accountable to you, and we must respect the views of our audience. That is our solemn contract with you.
Keen attention to detail,
rigorous verification of facts,
use of credible sources, and sound editorial judgment.
Keep track of our editorial policies and guidelines, including our corrections policy, by logging on to www.guardian.co.tt for more.
Attention all listeners, are you ready for the ultimate news experience? Introducing the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, the nation's first and most subscribed newspaper. We deliver where others can't. With the widest delivery network in TNT, you can have the Guardian delivered right to your doorstep or office every single day. Take advantage of our special annual subscription offer so you can stay on top of the leading stories even when you're on the go. Sign up today. Time is running out. Inquire about our 3-month and 6-month packages as well.
So happy to have with me Adana Leonard Williams. Yes, here with me. What a beautiful ring to the name, because you're into you're into education and into empowering the young people. And I recognize there's a spelling bee.
Yes.
That's around the corner.
Correct.
I look forward to the details. The Mindstar National Spelling Bee. When does this officially kick off?
Right. So Mindstar National Spelling Bee officially kicks off on April 22nd and on April 24th, and in Tobago on April 23rd.
Excellent.
Right.
So we have some time.
Yes, we have some time, yes.
How do folks register?
How they register? Students can register with their schools, because the Ministry of Education would have sent this to every single school in Trinidad and Tobago, maybe primary schools and secondary schools, and they go to their principal. The principal has a registration form, and the principal scans the code, and the school is registered, and the child is registered, or the children are registered. And
it's under the A.L. Williams Educational Services umbrella. Why you thought the spelling bee was an important component to engage with the young people?
All right, so why a spelling bee is important? Well, we have a problem with literacy right now in this country, meaning that with the introduction of more and more, I could say, the wrongful use of the technology, in terms of, like, most children, they get a tablet, they play a game, or they get a phone. For the older ones, it's just social media, Instagram and Snapchat, or the other things that they go on. And the actual devices are very important if you use it rightfully to impact on education positively. And we also see now that children are no longer reading as before. I am sure when you were growing up, you would have to read for your mother or your father. Reading was fundamental, and reading still is fundamental. When you go to university, you read for a degree. Anything you want to gain knowledge on, you read. We tend to say the children are doing good. Why the children are doing good? A reading child is one of the most successful child that it is. And with a spelling bee, always remember that a sentence is a group of words that make complete sense. How would you know a word if you can't spell the word?
It's true, and you know what I'm now considering? The way we break down a word now and spell it in a kind of, we spell it not in the way it's supposed to be done, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's you know, Spelling Bee is always want to engage the young people and just challenge them. What's the age you're looking at, the ideal age?
Right. So, well, we do it to our grouping. Not like in foreign countries. So we did it to standard 1, which is mainly 6 to 7 years old. Standard 2 or 3, you look at the 9 to 10, and standard 4 and 5, 11 to 12. And for the secondary school, we look at those students who came out of SC, and you have a Form 2 child might be 13 years old going on
14.
Yeah, and Form 3 and 4, you're looking at that 14 to 15 age group, and then you have your 5 and 6, where you have that 16 to 18 or 19 age group. So we're looking at those to empower them, because Spelling Bee impacts the society in a way that the education system needs that. So we want to report that next year we see an improvement in, let us say, the results of SCA or the results of CXC in English or Cape communication, because the impact of this is to have all schools have a Spelling Bee in their school.
Yes.
Create an excitement in your school that, it could be primary school or secondary school, it could be a private school, it could be homeschool children. Create that level of excitement. So it's not just a competition, it is a confidence builder. It entails critical thinking. It's a public speaking forum, because when you go out there and you stand up, you say your name.
Yes, of course.
And how powerful just to say your name. Yeah. It's one of the best things that you can have. You stand and you say your name. That's the beginning of a Spelling Bee.
Of course,
yeah.
And you build your confidence going forward.
Yes.
A.L. Williams, as we wrap things up, where can folks go to get more details concerning the Mindstar National Spelling Bee?
Right. So besides the school, they could contact us at 707-4650, and also they can email adanawins1@gmail.com. It's quicker to call or WhatsApp. They get me, and for those parents who possibly their schools have not registered, speak to the principal, speak to your head teacher, because this week is the week that we're wrapping up at the deadline for entrance, because remember, if we want this to be as best as possibly organized and everything that they want, especially with the tech park, we need to have things, preparation is key. We need to have things done well. So we're just advocating to the principals who might be watching the program now, or teachers or grandparents or any stakeholders, to get your school registered.
Yeah.
Yes. No.
A.L. Williams, keep up the great work, and thank you for the service for the young people.
Yes, I appreciate that.
With that, we look to wrap things up. It was indeed an action-packed program, certainly. A joy, a real joy to be here with you every single morning, and God spare, I'll be back at it again tomorrow. Have a great one, TNT. Be safe.
I was looking for a host.
Brew is brought to you by Omega XL. Live long, stay strong. You're watching CNC3. The views and opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of CNC3.